All right, guys. So we'll see you all in person on the 17th.
Sounds good. See you then.
Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I think we'll still just give it another minute, Bob, in case there's any public members.
Okay, sounds good, Andrew. Whenever you're ready, just give us the sign.
Got it.
We'll go on.
All right, I think we're good to get started. If you don't mind, Bob, I'll just give my normal little spiel here. Thank you for joining, everybody. I'm staff planner Andrew McNichol. Thank you again for joining us for the ZBA meeting of June 3rd, 2021. I just want to briefly explain the Zoom protocols. I know there's not a lot of people in the room right now, but we do ask that you don't use the chat feature if you can help it. You can chat me if you are having technical difficulties, but that's really what we want to limit it to, as this is a public meeting. So please avoid chat if you can. And then we'll follow our normal procedure of the applicant will give their presentation to the board, followed up by board questions, and then the board will be able to open the hearing to public comment, and from there to be decided where the application goes. So with that, I really think that's it, and I can hand it off to you, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. We'll hereby open the meeting of June 3rd, 2021, Zoning Board of Appeals. First item on our agenda tonight is case number 21-06, 63 Highland Street. And I will go ahead and read the legal notice on this one. The Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing through remote and online measures on Thursday, June 3rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. on the application of Sarah and Jason Archibald pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, subsection 10, for a variance from section 6.0 intensity regulations, or pursuant to Mass General Law to remove the existing single-story structure, deck, and shed and construct a new two-story addition to an existing non-conforming lot and dwelling with a non-conforming side yard setback on the property located at 63 Highland Street, Assessors Map 27, Lot 192, in Reading, Massachusetts. Unless there's an objection, I will dispense with the reading of the abutters list, except to say that the abutters were notified, as were the following: Select Board, Town Clerk, Police Department, Fire Department, Building Department, Conservation Commission, Health Department, Assessors Office, Engineering Division, CPDC, members and associate members of the Board of Appeals, as well as the planning boards of Wakefield, Linfield, North Reading, Stoneham, Woburn, and Wilmington. Testimony given before this board is taken under oath. So if you think you may want to speak, please raise your right please raise your right hand, and I swear that the testimony given by me before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Response is I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. I think we're all set, and if you would like to go into the applicant's presentation, that'll be fine. I assume you're going to be doing that, Nancy?
I will. Thank you. Yes,
Okay,
I'm Nancy
sure.
Cheney. I'm the architect for the project. And I think I can share my screen. Is that right, Andrew?
Yes, you can.
Okay, let me share my screen so I can get you to where we want to be. All right. let me get first to the drawings, and then we can take a look at the pictures. So let me explain a bit about what we're planning to do. This is the existing first floor, and in the current structure, it has a stair down to the basement and a bathroom associated with it. It's single story, and it leads to a deck. You can see from this plan, and I'll show you the site plan, that this existing structure is 10.7 feet from the side yard, the north side of the property. What we are proposing to do is to remove this single story structure. It's on a rubble foundation. The house was built in 1895, so you can imagine how old these foundations are. And it isn't suitable for going up with a second story. As you know, we could have gone, if it had a good foundation, we could have gone up with a second story without having to go before you. But because the foundation isn't adequate, we're removing that foundation and rebuilding. It will be a little bit away from the property line in order to be able to extend it a bit to get a better structure as we go up. But the deck and that single story existing structure will be removed, including the rubble foundation. We'll rebuild, will be now 10.8 at the closest, which is the corner at the back of this new two-story addition. And then we have an egress door. I'll show you the plans in a second. Egress door that leads to a landing that will be 10.9 feet from the north side lot line. We're actually looking for a special permit, not a variance. Let me show you, because we are all now going to be continuing to be conforming and be less than the amount that it is currently. So the proposed will look something like this. This is a new two-story addition that is basically where the deck and that existing single-story structure is. It will comprise of a family room, a new stair, obviously down to the basement. They still need access to their basement, and a egress door off the side that leads towards the backyard. This is that landing. It's not covered. It's just a standard landing outside the door. Then on the basement, it will be a new basement, eventually finished if they decide, with a bulkhead out in order to be able to get egress through the basement as well. And that egress goes to the other side, the south side, and it actually is conforming. On the second floor, we're proposing a new master bedroom out over this addition, and then renovating one of the existing bedrooms into a master bath and second floor laundry room. This is the existing house. This is the extension. So it's a two-story extension. This part of the first floor is lower. I'll show you on the back. We're matching roof lines coming towards the backyard. This is that shed roof that's lower on the side. These are the stairs that lead to that landing. This is the rear view. And then the side view is the door, the window into the stairwell that goes to the basement, and then the two closet windows above. The existing, I'll show you what this house looks like. This is the existing single-story structure currently and the deck. That's the back of the house. This window will go away because the addition takes up that window. The back single-story addition, you can see the rock foundation and the door into that basement sort of bulkhead, if you will. It's a pretty rickety and tiny little stair there. And then this is just showing the offset to the existing single-story addition. This shed that exists right now will be removed, so it will not be on the property. If there's any questions, that's basically an overview of it. What we're proposing will not be any closer to the lot line than the current structure. We feel that this isn't anything different than what the rest of the neighborhood looks like. And I believe Jason dropped off letters of support from his abutting neighbors that show that they have no problem with this addition as well as designed. Any questions? I'm happy.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. At this time, I see we have the building inspector with us tonight. Brett, would you like to, I think you wrote the letter on this one. Would you like to comment on this?
Yeah, sure. Just touching on Nancy's point. I mean, originally I wrote it up for a variance, just thinking a complete tear down and then a new story, two-story addition. So, I mean, with the council of Glenn, obviously, we knew it needed something. We're just try to figure out what it is.
Okay, thank you. At this time then, I will go to individual board members and ask if they have any questions or comments on this. Go across here. I see my first person is James Mon. Would you have any comments or questions on this?
Thank you, Bob. Yes, just a few things. I did go by and take a look at it, and I think that this this proposal will I support it to begin with. I think it will be an improvement to the neighborhood. I don't see any detriment. There's no additional encroachment on the setbacks. If anything, there's a little less. So I feel I do support it. I do have just a couple questions, really more for my information than anything. And I don't think it matters, but do we know what percentage of the lot this building with the proposed addition will cover?
Yes, if we look, let's go back to that plot plan. Let me see if I can get that back up there. Let's see, does he has the building coverage right here. So it's a total of 1,298 or 20%. So it meets the 25% lot coverage without a problem.
So it only covers 20.5%, so it's
Correct.
within the 25.
That's correct.
Okay, so you could have made it a little bigger in the rear.
We could have, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and if you look, yeah, we could have come, it's 24.5 feet
Right.
at the closest, so we could have gone 4.5 feet, but at some point that's really, it wasn't necessary, so.
Okay.
Yes.
And then my final question, again, just for my information, how do we determine, and I probably should know this, but how do we determine if a variance or a special permit is the appropriate action from this board at this time?
Do you want my 2 cents on this?
Please, at least 2 cents.
So from what and I've been in town for a very long time, as you guys all probably know, my studying of the bylaws and discussions with Glenn and Julie and all, what causes a variance is when you are more than what is currently on the property. So in other words, if everything absolutely conformed, and we were asking to be 10.8 from the side yard, but everything else was 15, I would need a variance. If anything on the property was non-conforming, that I was making non-conforming, you would need a variance. If I were proposing that this addition was going to be 10.6 instead of 10.8, a variance would be required. So the way the special permit bylaws read currently, and it has been, it's a change as of about, I don't know how many years now, maybe 15, 20 years. They allow additions to and tear downs and rebuilds as long as you get a special permit, it isn't a detriment to the neighborhood, and you aren't any closer, or you're not encroaching any more than what the current setback is. Hopefully that was making sense. But
No, I think you're right there, Nancy. Yes, there's no new non-conformities, and I think that's
right.
good. Yeah. Does that answer your questions, James?
It does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any more questions? You're all set? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, very good. I will go on to, let's see, Nick at this particular time. Nick, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you. Just real quick, I agree. I don't think a variance is required because I don't think there's any new nonconformity. I think it's applicable under a special permit because maybe we're slightly altering the current nonconformity. My comment is I don't really have any issues with this. I think it's good. I think, you know, the minor changes in the footprint to me seem like, you know, it's necessary to create a better foundation to support the second floor. So I say I support this application with a special permit.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I will go on to Cindy right now then. Cindy, any comments or questions on this application?
No questions, and I did drive by myself too, and I didn't see that this would have any detrimental impact at all. In fact, I think it would probably be an improvement, as noted, and I would support this, and I don't have any questions or issues.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Hillary, any questions, comments?
I'm in agreement with my the fellow board members here that I do think that is an improvement to the neighborhood. And I like how it is tucked behind where it's on, you know, it's how it gradually goes up so that, you know, that side that is a little bit more prominent of this house it's hidden in your approach. And I think it's a nice solution to the existing condition.
Okay, thank you, Hillary. I think we've gone through 4 members that are sitting tonight and myself. Again, I'll try to keep it brief here. I agree with the 4 board members that have already spoken that I would support this one. We're dealing with a legal non-conforming structure on a legal non-conforming lot in this neighborhood. There is no new non-conformity, as I said before, and it's pretty much the same footprint that the deck in the 1-story L, you might say, or the 1-story addition that was put on at one time. It covers the back, and I don't see that the footprint is going to be changed too much. There's no new issues with non-conformities with setbacks or anything. And I think it appears to meet the requirements that section 7.3.2 was written for. No increase in non-conformity, and it shall not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure that's there. I think it meets all those criteria. I would support it. Andrew, at this time, I would think I would open this up to a public comment. If we have anybody joining us on the Zoom meetings for public comment, feel free. I will say that we did receive 5 letters from abutters. All 5 were in support of this project by the applicant. I won't go through and read all 5 letters or anything, but we'll just note that they will be in the file. They're part of the public file down at the town hall, and all 5 abutters were in support of this application. So if there's anybody else who would like to speak, please feel free. I don't think we have anybody, Andrew.
I do not see any hands up, and you captured the letters perfectly that I was going to mention. So
Okay, thank you. I will hereby close the public portion of the meeting and ask the board, is there any further questions or not from board members? And if not, I would accept a motion on this petition before the board. No further questions? Okay. Nick, can I get a motion from you on this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's see here. So I motion to, second, let me get
I can just make a point of clarification. I know the applicant didn't apply for a variance, but we did notice it. Should we at all ask to withdraw that request?
Right, right. And technically, it was advertised as a variance, I believe, and we've gone through this before. It is going for something that is, you might say, a lesser degree than a variance, a special permit. So I believe that is okay legally, and that's exactly what we're looking for here, a motion for a special permit.
Okay.
I think to section 7.3.2 of the bylaws. Right. Nick? Yeah.
Yep, I move to grant the petitioner, Sarah and Jason Archibald, a special permit under section 7.0, 7.3, and 7.32 of the zoning bylaws to remove an existing single-story structure, deck, and shed, and construct a new two-story addition to an existing non-conforming lot and dwelling with a non-conforming side yard setback on the property located at 63 Highland Street in Reading, Massachusetts, as shown and depicted on the plot plan and architectural drawings submitted.
Okay, thank you, Nick. And anything did you hear we need to add to that, Andrew?
Nope, we have no changes to the plot plan or architectural plan, so I think the language he used works.
Yeah, I think we made reference to the architectural plans that were submitted and
Yep.
to the survey plot plan, so we should be all set that way.
Do we still have to add the standard conditions to these decisions?
I add them in the decision, but I don't
Okay.
really need to read them.
Yeah, we
Sounds
did.
good.
We had standard conditions. We've forgotten about them using these Zoom meetings, I think.
Yeah.
No, they're pretty boilerplate,
Yeah.
required anyways, I think.
I probably have a copy of them here if you'd like me to read them somewhere. I probably have a copy. Let's see. Yeah, I can't lay my hand on them right now, but basically it's, you need a permit for the foundation work first. And then you get the foundation approval before you can start your framing and structural work. And then prior to, that has to be approved prior to any occupancy permit issued. There you go. Thank you, Andrew.
No problem.
And as-built plans then shall be completed after construction prior to any occupancy permit. Okay, and we'll add those to the motion and those conditions.
And I'll draft that up, Nick.
Sure. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Hillary. All those in favor? Nick?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hillary?
Yes.
Thank you. Cindy?
Yes.
Thank you. James?
Yes.
Thank you. And myself, yes. Let it be noted that it's a unanimous decision to approve the request for a special permit, 500. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll draft that up, Nancy, and coordinate with Bob to get you your signatures and stamped plans and all that good stuff.
Great, Andrew. Thank you so much. We
No
appreciate
problem.
the
Have a
time.
good night.
Okay,
You too.
thank you. Let's see here. We have the
Bob, if I could, just a question not related to this application, just a general question. Those general provisions that Andrew or somebody just showed us on the screen, don't they apply to all building permits, not just special permits?
Well, they do. They do.
Yeah, okay.
They can. If somebody, in other words, in this particular case, say the applicant had required a variance on this instead of a special permit, and we approved the variance, we would attach, generally, we would attach those special provision or those conditions to the variance request if it was approved.
Right, but I guess my
Basically,
question is, any building permit has to do those things, correct?
I don't know about any building permit. I don't know if Brett would know.
If it's
Or,
a if you're doing a foundation, we usually get an as-built, yes.
yeah. These were put in a few years back, James, when we ran into problems of people not getting their foundation location approved and then coming back with an after the fact request saying, oh, geez, we followed up on the foundation and it was 6 inches closer to the property line than we thought.
Yeah, unfortunately, that still happens with the construction across the street from the station, even though we had that provision.
Well, this was hopefully a remedy to that, or a helpful remedy that at that particular time helped out. I think Glenn was building inspector at that time, and during his tenure there, it helped him out. But that's where that came from. Those were developed a number of years ago.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other business tonight, Andrew?
Just the one. So as I kind of mentioned before we started the meeting, and I sent an email out a week or two ago that our June 17th hearing will be conducted in person in the Select Board's meeting room at Reading Town Hall. Now that was due to the lifting of the state of emergency that is to occur on June 15th, which then would suspend the acts of 2020 that allowed us to meet over Zoom and have quorum over Zoom. So we had to make an immediate decision to renotice that or cancel the meeting, and we went with renoticing it for in person. And then, of course, shortly after we renoticed it and went through the whole process, the governor released an update that he is pushing the act. I don't want to say pushing the acts, some aspects of the state of emergency, such as boards meeting over Zoom in quorum to September 1st, 2021. So if the board elected to, after June 17th for July and August, we can meet either in person or over Zoom. So I wanted to ask the board what they would like to do for those 2 months at a minimum, because when I notice the hearing in the paper and with the clerk, I just have to get the location correct, whether it's in the Select Board's office or Zoom. So I'll leave it to you guys to decide. I have no preference. I am at your will. So.
My thought, if I could, is let's see how the meeting on June 17th goes and then decide.
Mm-hmm. I would only caution against that because I have to notice some advertisements probably before the 17th, I think. I'll have to double, I think. Let me pull up my schedule.
Okay. Do we have any applications for June 17th?
We do have one, yes.
Yeah.
And then our first meeting in July would be July 1st, which has a legal advertisement day of 6/19, I believe. So July 1st.
That's cutting it pretty close.
It is cutting it close.
Would you be able to notice it on the 18th or not? Or is that push you too hard?
Because we're closed on Fridays, I can't. I have to wait till the advertisement prints in the paper before mailing it, just to confirm that it printed. So yeah, the latest I can notice it is that June 16th date, most likely. So it's right there.
Okay, I retract my comment then about waiting to see how the 17th meeting goes.
But Jamie did ask good questions, I think, before, that I will certainly look for answers for, such as if masks will be required or vaccination required, all that stuff. And I'll try to get you guys that information as soon as I can.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrew, on that. We did have Andrew and I discussed this a little earlier before the meeting started. We did have some minutes that are on the agenda for tonight, but those have not been prepared yet. So we will hold off on the minutes of May 20th, 21 until those are received by members of the board. And I think that's pretty much it for tonight, right, Andrew?
Well, don't
I
we
guess
need to
I've
give
got-
Andrew directions for whether or not the first meeting in July is going to be in person or Zoom?
Right.
I
July 1st.
think we owe him that.
Why don't we do the next two meetings, plan to do them both in person,
Okay.
and then decide after that, after the 17th, whether we're going to continue that for the rest of the summer or not.
I'm in favor of that. If you guys are okay meeting July 1st as well.
Yeah, can I ask another question? I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this. Let's say we meet in person the first meeting in July. But some board members join by Zoom since it's allowable under the change in the law. Do you know if that works?
So that would work. I'm not quite sure that we're working on getting the technology and making sure that that is available in all of our meeting rooms. I'm not quite sure how it would work just yet. For those zooming in, if they would be shared on screen or on a laptop there. So we're still kind of figuring that out, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible for July 1st. I would ask that we don't try to avoid that for June 17th, but if we wanted to try it for July 1st, I think we could look into what that takes because it's worth looking into. And
we do town meeting that way, and it's usually works pretty well.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of technical assistance for town meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, so we would have to like coordinate with our CTV and kind of figure out how that works through the logistical end. But
okay, I wouldn't advocate for that, but it is a plan B if we have a problem.
Correct. I agree.
So I would support having the next two meetings in person also, and then we can see how things go.
Okay.
I would be the same for that.
Okay.
No objection.
Great.
Yeah, I'm okay with that also. I guess now's as good a time as any, Bob. I'm actually not gonna seek reappointment for next fiscal year. I just don't have the capacity right now, unfortunately, to give it my all. So I defer to you guys, what you want to do after June 30th. I'm fine with either.
Okay, Nick, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll miss you, Nick. Are you sure you won't reconsider?
Yeah, I put a lot of thought into
Someone else is going to have to give us that thorough Nick analysis.
it.
Yeah, well, so that is another question. We have to vote for the new chair.
Come July 1st. Yes.
And I guess the new co-chair also, or
Yeah,
vice
that's what I
chair.
was gonna say.
Yep. So with that, I wish Chris, I can let Chris know, but Alex and Chris, if you do want to apply for the full-time positions, you can do that, certainly do that. Or if you're comfortable in the associate role, you can maintain that. I know you mentioned, Alex, you had reapplied for that. So whatever works for you, but I will let the board know that until we fill those positions of Rob, Bob, and Nick, we're gonna need almost full attendance and quorum until those are filled, because we need at least 4 voting members on most of our applications. So if you can just try to be obviously things come up and it's not going to be perfect, so we're not expecting that.
Well, and I just sent you an email about that.
You did, so no worries.
That might be a reason to have some Zoom meetings later this
Right.
summer in order to get a quorum.
But the positions, I believe, have been advertised, so they are out there looking for members.
So Andrew, a full board is 5 members and 2 associates,
Correct.
and a quorum.
A quorum is 3, but because we primarily deal with special permits and variances, that requires a supermajority vote, which is 4 out of 5. But typically we need 4 members at every meeting.
Andrew, do I need to resubmit something? So it sounds like there's going to be 2 openings. I think last time I mentioned, I want to get Chris's thoughts, but openings, I'm comfortable applying for the full-time. So do I have to resubmit something new or to kind of supersede what I had already sent in?
I
Or?
do believe you'd have to submit a new application, so I will check with the select board's office and see if there's some sort of workaround for that.
Andrew, who's on the current subcommittee for appointments?
I do not know who is on the VASC committee. We can go as staff, but we aren't typically invited. So I've actually never been to a VASC subcommittee meeting, but I don't know who's on them.
I do know that in the past, the VASC committee has asked the applicants if they would be either an associate or a full member. So there was that opportunity to make that designation without resubmitting all the paperwork.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually asked me that. I was given that choice at the time.
I may have been, but I sent it in probably a month or 2 ago. So, I just checked associate again. So.
Yeah, I'll check with Jackie on that, Alex, and get you an update next week.
Yep, that works.
All right. Well, with that, so we'll meet in person June 17th and July 1st. We'll plan for and see how it goes from there. And
Okay, thank you.
I think the Bruins are starting. So.
I would accept a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting then.
I so move.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Hillary. All those in favor, you can raise your hand or aye.
Bye.
Okay, see you in a couple weeks. Person.
I've never met any of you in person.
If I can find my Halloween candy, I'll bring it.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody.